You're good.
Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Let me hit okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chris is in the air today. He notified me he's flying somewhere on business, so he won't be joining us. I think I think we're good in terms of the quorum. Um, so let's see. We'll just get started. Um, so welcome everybody to this is the February 26, 2025 Nesquin NCAC Executive Board meeting. Um, Conflict of interest question to officers. For today's agenda, I don't have any conflicts. I'll just go down the list here. I see Gary and then Nancy.
I have none.
Okay.
I have none.
Okay.
Nancy
And then
Mandel.
Yep.
I have none.
And Alex. Alex is
I have
probably
I have none.
okay. Okay. Alex, you're driving, right? Or you're
I'm driving. Yep.
okay.
So I
Okay.
will. I have
Yeah.
myself on mute,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I will chime in. I just need to be able to press the mute button, which may take me 1 second.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
Okay, January 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review those. Gary sent those out yesterday or the day before, and I took a look at them. Are there any changes, additions, or changes to the minutes that anybody saw?
No.
Oh, looks great. Thank you, Gary.
Okay, thanks, Gary. If none, without objection, we'll approve the January 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes. Okay, so we've got I'm looking at the agenda. I was printed out and then make notes on it. Probably everybody that's run meetings does that, or maybe they do it differently, but that's how I do it. So I've got um, bylaws and then community plan and then outreach, a little bit of monitoring task force discussion, and then agenda items for the April 12th meeting. And then, of course, public comment and adjourn. So that's what we have on the agenda today. Um, I think that so Randall's contacted me. I think we can do this in the bylaws subcommittee check-in. I know I've attended the bylaws meeting or attended the last one, maybe the last couple since we've had a general membership meeting. I can't remember, but um, we're sort of talking about we have been talking about some different things that I think the bylaws are looking at addressing, which is something I'll just call public service announcements, and then maybe donations and fundraising, and then also political, um, well, requests for political action from the NCAC. So, or or time from the NCAC. Maybe that's a better way of putting it regarding a political issue. So. Um, So I'm hoping, Nancy, we'll kick off with the bylaws, and I think you've been talking about this, and I know Rand has an interest in this through the NCA. I believe Rand to trying to raise funds for the paving project in Nestwin, and
Right.
so that's how Rand reminded me of that today, and hopefully during Nancy your time we can just talk a little bit about that. So. I'll turn it over to you, Nancy, for the bylaws.
Okay. And I put that in my notes after I saw that about an hour,
Okay.
half hour ago.
Okay.
So I'll get to that definitely. Um, so we're busy working, and I really appreciated your attending, Mark. You always add value. And so one of the things that we're looking at that we would like the input from the executive board, and particularly you, Gary. In fact, maybe Gary, you and I should just have a meeting and about this separately. But we're looking at having a procedure for registering members annually or for new members as simple as possible. So, like for a key meeting, like maybe the April election meeting or possibly the June annual meeting, that we just have more on the sign up form, kind of like we did back in June of 2023, where we asked people to state, we have a list that just state how they're eligible to be a member. We have a list that, things they can check, and more than one. Sometimes people are going to be qualifying a number of ways, and their mailing address for the residents, and then their Nesquin address, and their email and their phone number, and that kind of thing. And the only thing that would be public, something we're checking with Sarah on, but the only thing that would be public is their name and their how they're a member. So everything else would be kept confidential, but it would give us a chance to understand where our members are and how they qualify. And then if somebody comes in new and hears about the organization, that we would then have something on the website where people could sign up to become a member and be added to our email list and that kind of thing. So so that's something we wanted to talk with you guys about, because I know it had come up before, and we're not talking about anything really formal, not a really complex database, just like an Excel spreadsheet or something. And it could be run through your committee, Gary, or it could be run through the outreach committee, but obviously it would have to go through you in terms of setting up the meeting registration for one of these key meetings. So it'd be like an annual one-time thing. And if we wanted to get even a little bit fancier, it could be something where if somebody's already a member and they put in their name, then their information could already come up maybe automatically, and they could just say yay, no, or this changed or that changed or something like that. But certainly not every meeting.
That's already been done one time before.
It was done in June of 2023, before the annual meeting. And it was really helpful when we were looking at doing Article 3 of the bylaws, the membership part. And it seems like it might be helpful for the community plan also, and then also for the outreach committee or task force to be able to understand where the members are and where they can go out and try to gather more interest in that kind of thing. So we're thinking of something quite simple, but maybe something for you to think about. And you don't need to actually respond now. We can talk offline, but just something like that. We do know from when we were discussing these kinds of things in the past that because of Oregon public meeting law, names are public of anyone that is part of that's on our email list. That's public, but we do not have to publish any of their personal data in terms of their address, their email address, their phone number, that kind of thing. So we just want to make sure that when we it's one of our issues for Sarah. So that's one area. We've also been talking about how to handle the request that Mark was talking about. Request to be like a public service announcement, to put things on our website in a certain area or included in email blasts and that kind of thing. Of like one might be to be able to appear at a meeting and talk about it. So like last month, this month, I guess, Tom talked about the
CERT.
CERT, thank you. And Wyatt talked about the volunteer fire department briefly. And so those were pretty straightforward. But just how do we handle that? And we don't have anything written yet. It's on our list to talk with Sarah about, but some of the things to consider are the organizations that are asking things that meet our mission and that kind of thing. So if it's something, I think Mark had expressed, if it's something that's just asking for a public service announcement about a meeting or something like that, that's pretty simple. It would mean, though, Gary, working with your website person to put something on the website, like a tab or something where we could put those announcements up, and or whether it could be included in an email blast that would be included, not a special one because we're so limited on how many we can have. But so I don't know when we would want to, if we would have time, Mark, to discuss that now, or if you'd rather have us actually put together a proposal and we discuss it at our March executive board meeting.
Yeah.
And then because
uh-huh.
we've also got we've also got the
Mm.
political thing, and then we have
Yeah.
Rand's request to promote the road repair thing that I'm
Mhm.
prepared to talk about separately.
Right. So, um, so I think it would be good to spend some time on it today. I guess I feel like, I read Rand, did you send that? I know you sent the blurb to me. Did you send it to everybody or did,
I think so.
oh, okay, okay,
I-
okay.
I
Yeah,
received it,
okay.
but right before the meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So, it looks like there's there's a timeline on this one. Well, generally, I think of the two that have come forward, there's timelines on both of them. And I think that I don't. So when I guess I just think I don't ever think about just one incident when something like this comes forward. I think of many. I think of the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one.
Right.
It's not really about this one. And so, how do you have guidance that's going to guide you in a direction that you would say either it fits in the box or it doesn't fit in the box? And right now, I don't think we've talked enough about it that we have guidance to make that decision yet. Um, you know, we if I think about the two proposals or two requests that we've had, and maybe Rand, the other one, well, one had to do with helping our mail carrier
Right.
for the Nesquin area, Dustin, and this one is for the pavers, and
Well,
both are. Oh, go
we
ahead.
didn't we didn't ask the we didn't ask the NCAC or the NCA to help with the other one. Those were all personal mailing lists for Dustin.
Well,
We didn't
oh,
do it through an organization or use anyone else's mailing list.
okay, so the request came from Susan Schomburg, sent an
Oh,
email to me and had requested that they be allowed to talk about that at the general membership meeting in February, Rand. So it did rise to the level that they wanted access to the NCAC for that.
I wasn't aware
I
of that.
Yeah, and I think they've gone another direction now. I think
It's over. We raised
it
almost
is. Okay.
$1,000.
Okay.
We did.
That one's
Oh,
over.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that one was definitely where I thought in our
Okay.
discussions, we said, we can do this. It's not that many people and
Okay.
we should keep our powder dry for the big shot at trying to get the road project because well,
Okay.
actually that 10,000 would have worked. That would have satisfied that situation too. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to drown people with stuff, within a month.
Yeah.
55 to 60 people responded and it's over.
Mhm. Okay. 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 I think I saw the GoFundMe. Maybe I saw it somehow, and I didn't know what the amount was, but
Well,
um,
someone thought you might be interested.
yeah. um, okay. So for me, and this is just my opinion about it. We need to have some sort of guardrails about how it fits or it doesn't fit in the NCAC mission. And I know that safety is one of the items that's listed in item number 2 in the bylaws. And there's always also a catch-all that any other issues that seem appropriate. Um, so I just personally, I just like to have something written down that would say either real clearly it's a thumbs up or it's a thumbs down based on the request. That's what I would like. And we don't have that at this point.
Mhm.
What's your timeline, Rand? I read it and you were hoping to get the funds soon. You're waiting for the county to actually allocate the funds or
No,
no?
the counties weighed in and said they'll provide up to 800 tons, which is
Okay,
way more than we could use in Esquin unless we
Okay.
just saved all the streets. So the county's in, all the collaborators have weighed in, and the numbers, actually, we may get some leverage to bring the numbers for the contractor down. And so, anyway, it's a matter of getting $10,000 to $11,000 at this point from the
Okay.
community. And
Okay.
so far, it's just been one public meeting and word of mouth that have gotten to over $14,000. So we don't
Mhm.
think this is going to be a month-long effort. I think it's going to be one email and then us following up. If that doesn't do it, I'd be extremely surprised. And if so, the criteria that come to mind to me, of course, is the mission includes safety, and this is all motivated by improvements on our streets so that they're safer to drive, to walk, to ride a bike, etc. The other thing is what I think you want to see, like grantors love to see, is collaborations between various entities. So we have a cadre of volunteers in the community who have been doing this and will continue to help on this project, contributing labor to the tune of a number of thousands of dollars. You have the county willing to offer 40 to, well, now it's like $80,000 in materials. You have that's the county Public Works Department. So right now the negotiation is with the contractor, and he's even willing to pitch in because he sees the different parties all trying to make this work. So I think when you have a situation where the collaboration is palpable and recordable, and it's towards meeting one of the mission goals of the NCAC, that would be a big number. That's something that I think is of high value to the community, because it means that all those people are willing to work together towards a shared goal, which is safety in our community. So I can't think of too many other projects that would bring together a government agency, local volunteers, the companies that are being contracted participating with a contribution discount to get the work done. And so those things to me add up to a very valuable collaboration. So that, I don't know if that's the criteria for doing it, although I think it could be a part of it. It could be one of the ways you weigh the value of the communication, because the way it's portrayed in the communication is that we're all coming together to get something done. Oh, and not to mention the NCA contributing $25,000 to, as an impetus, an incentive to get the public to participate. So it'll end up being community volunteers, community contributions, the community association, the county government, and the contractor all pitching together to make something happen that is doable and will increase safety in our community. And at this point, with the amount of materials available, other neighborhoods are going to be able to fill potholes and do some things that we normally do down in the village. There's some individuals at Beechcrest who are going to take on some road work up there. So it's more than just the village also.
Could I ask a couple of questions?
Sure.
So you had mentioned, so have you gotten confirmation that the county is really going to come up with this money? Because they can't even come up with $300 for us for communication stuff. And are they? Is that recent where they've confirmed that they can actually come up with this money? It
Yes,
seems like the whole project relies on that donation. And
right. No, they increased the donation. So yeah, they're in, and that was, I'm not exactly sure how this happened, but Jeff Walton was the contact with Chris Laity. I didn't know those two even talked, but he was the reporter back. Chris said, talk to Jeff. Jeff came and said, yes, in fact, they've increased the amount of that they're donating. So that was the box that I knew had to get checked before I could come to you.
right. And so is that on their website somewhere? I mean, have they sent something in writing saying that they will definitely do it? It's in their budget. And
I just have emails. I don't have a written letter to state that.
yeah, I I think it sounds like a wonderful project. Just really, really good. It's so needed. And I hear you, Mark, that we need to have, and I apologize that we don't have a proposal yet for you on a general level. I think it's a really great project, but I guess I would, because the county's part of it is so huge, I personally would want to see some kind of a letter saying that they really are going to do this before we're part of asking people to pony up some more money. Otherwise, I don't know how hard it would be to do that, but it seems like if there's some emails that there could be something where it shows in that area's budget or something for $80,000. I mean, that's a sizable amount. So that's just my thought. But otherwise, I guess I will commit, Mark, to having that on the agenda for our next bylaws committee meeting to really sort out. And I will put together a proposal, a draft to send to you and the board beforehand, even to take a look at it before the committee talks about it, that we can talk about. And then we would have something for the March meeting. But, if for this particular example, to me, if we can get something showing that the county really can provide that asphalt, that would be, I would feel comfortable as a board member saying, okay.
I'll send you what I received from Jeff Walton. So it is
Yeah.
just an email. I'm not exactly sure if I would definitely ask him if he could get that in writing. I don't know if that's what, I have no idea what he'll say or what Chris Laity will say. And say, it's not enough to tell you that we're going to do it. You have to have it in writing.
Well,
And I understand. I'm just going to say, yeah, that would be helpful because we're asking people to put out money. And we need to know that your commitment is there because yours is the biggest commitment of this whole project. So I will, and I'm supposed to go through Jeff for any communications at this point, which is like pulling teeth for me, but I will certainly do that.
I don't know. And I don't know if we would need to run something like this by Sarah or not. At least she should be aware of it, I would think, before we.
Well, that's the other note that I have down is sort of asking Sarah, we did not meet as a CAC this month in February. So I just, I think that when the NCAC says, okay, I don't know, Randall, in a perfect world, how would this work for you? We would send out an email to every member. Is that what you are asking?
I'm asking that
okay?
we would send you a communication that you could review and say, well, I
Okay.
don't like that language, or I don't
Okay.
stated the
Yeah.
way we want it to come across. We'd edit something with you, and then that would go out in either part of another blast, since it's a budgeted thing, or if it costs more, we'd probably, pitch in and pay for an extra message that month, or I think it was,
Okay.
I can't remember what that cost.
So is the
Um,
NCA organizing this, Rand? Is it something where we could have something saying, we are posting this on behalf of the NCA, which is sponsoring this,
Yes.
and have a
They're
little
making
thing
the
saying
pitch.
the NCAC has no responsibility or, you know, something of that nature. We're just basically publicizing something from a partner organization or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, we're not asking you to, well, we're asking you to endorse it enough that you'll put the pitch out to the greatest number of
Mhm.
people. But
Yeah.
the NCA is definitely the fiscal agent here, and they are the
Yeah.
ones who are challenging the community to come up with the $25,000. So it would
Mhm.
come from the NCA, and it would so. I'll be a part of writing that letter, but that's correct as to who is
Okay.
pitching.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I think there's a
Uh-huh.
typo in that second paragraph. It says tomato, a credit card payment. So I'm guessing.
Oh, haven't you heard that? That's the newest thing. The tomato
Live and learn, man.
credit card
Mhm.
situation. Well, that was, I just cut that out of the thing that we did for the September 2nd Labor Day meeting. That was part of the script, so I just cut it and
Okay.
pasted it for your group. So that's not the final pitch. That's the, but we will definitely give you time to edit or have input on the letter when we write it. And I'll try and get some information via Jeff about Chris, and I'm happy to ask Sarah too if this fits in her realm as to whether it's legit or not, or
Yeah.
she would
Yeah.
be supportive of it.
It's on my list for just a whole bunch of things relating to the policies and procedures to go over with her when I can get her attention. I've been trying to
Right,
group everything so I don't send things just one after another and that we
right, do
cover all
three
of them.
things, right.
But yeah, but you're welcome to too, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, again, I think it sounds like an extraordinarily terrific project. Is if the county really can fund it, that part of it, it sounds really well thought out. And I know the paver people, Midnight Pavers, do an incredible job just trying
Mhm.
to, you know, do the bare necessity. So
And
Right,
much
so this,
needed if you've been driving
yes.
through Nescoin this week, particularly.
Oh,
There is one, and not necessarily relevant
Mhm.
to how to decide what to post and when, but I have talked to Alexis Tate, and
good.
she told me that the NCAC could have a little spot in their kind of community bulletin board in the store.
Wonderful.
So not only would that be great for, obviously for this paving project, but also for outreach, or just having, you know, something that we don't have to update all the time, but with PSAs, and also trying to get a couple more members, having our info up there on the community bulletin board um, would be useful. So she's agreed to let us post some things up there.
Thank you so much, Alex. That's
Mhm.
terrific news. And Mark, you found somebody too. So
Yeah, I was in the store this week and I went back to get something out of the cabinet or out of the case there and noticed the bulletin board there.
oh, it's the same
And
place. Okay.
yeah, I just asked them
Oh,
about
great.
that and they said, yeah, you could post it there. So I think Rand, if you get, so can we, I'd like to have the bylaws take a real hard swing at this. But in the meantime, I think having the NCA put together what they would like in a letter or a statement to go out so that I think we'll probably come to some conclusion around how to do this, Rand.
okay,
And at that time, it'd be really nice to, in fact, maybe you could send a letter, you know, well, Yeah, you could send the letter soon, Randall. And when we talk about it in bylaws, we might just say, here's what we're talking about. And by the way, here's an example. Here's a letter, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think if we had any sort of changes to it, I don't think they'd be whole changes. They'd be some tweaking here or there, but
Okay,
so,
right. I'll get on it with Ken and
okay,
we will throw it back at you and see
yeah,
how you feel about it.
okay. I'm sorry to make, so I know folks in the community and the paving and the roads and everything else. I don't want to make this more complicated than it really, really should be, but it's been surprising to me how many things come to the NCAC. We had a request for some time to talk about a ballot measure, and I politely declined that request.
Right.
And so more things are coming, and the last thing I would want to do is just say, oh, okay, and then somebody say,
Right.
well, wait a minute, what are we doing here, right? So,
Right. No,
so
it's legit. I mean,
yeah,
especially in the process of doing the bylaws, trying
yeah,
to foresee things in the future and try and get
yeah,
get a handle on that before some wacky stuff happens.
yeah,
It's legitimate. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Randall. Nancy, you
Okay,
might have
thank
other
you.
things for
So yeah, I
bylaws.
do. I have quite a
Okay.
list. So,
Okay.
um, so we've been working hard on the policies and procedures and references now. It's now called the PP&R, and it's not references. I keep giving the wrong name. It's policies, procedures, and well, maybe it is references. It's embarrassing. But anyway, um, the if you would like to see the latest drafts, you can always go to the meeting folder of the upcoming meeting, and there will be the latest draft in that, or the archive for the previous latest draft. But if you would like to link to the folder where we update, Tom updates occasionally. We're now on draft. It's either 19 or 20. You are just let me know, and I could send you a link to that folder. And I don't know, Gary, if maybe you and I could talk about setting something up where we have just something for bylaws, current activities as a tab, where we could have those kinds of links that are easy for people to get to, where I could upload the latest draft to that kind of a link. I don't know. But we are working hard and we are changing quite a bit. As I mentioned, there's several items that we need to talk about with Sarah, and I've sent an email to her asking for some time to do that. Haven't heard back yet, so I'll follow up. So we are planning a series of feedback sessions, and Ran, you and I kind of went back and forth when you were on vacation, and then I kind of dropped it. But Tom's been kind of keeping us up to apprised also. But we're looking at having feedback sessions similar to what we did with the bylaws, except with the policies and procedures.
Mhm.
And we don't want to conflict with anything that the community plan might be doing in that regard. But I'm hearing from Tom, at least, that it sounds like we may be okay. If it's okay, I'm going to share. Oh, there's a chat in here. Oh, okay. I'd like to share, and Mark has seen this, our plan. That's very, very tentative, and just see how that would work for you. So we're hoping we won't need 8. We had 11 for the bylaws, but there's a lot of detail in the policies and procedures, and it could be, that people aren't going to be that interested. We haven't had people attending our meetings like we were with the bylaws committee meetings. So we're initially thinking that we wanted to go ahead and get them on the schedule starting April 9th and going through May 14th if we absolutely have to, on Wednesday nights and Saturday afternoons. So I guess my first question is, would that conflict with your schedule, Randall, or do you think we're okay?
I think you're okay. In March, we just have we're still organizing in preparation for the public meetings. So we have the 10th and the 24th, those are Mondays. And then in April, we are shooting for, I thought they got on here. Oh, also, wait, on the 29th is when we were gonna have our first public presentation about housing. So that's Saturday, the 29th of March. Sarah's gonna do an updated presentation of where we are on middle housing. And then the following week, April 5th, we're going to be doing a public meeting to get feedback from the community about the variables that we have. Just some background is that the SB 406 doesn't give you a lot of options. You have to there's only a few things that you can do to alter what they say you have to do. So we've been sifting through those in order to determine what we think fits the character of the community and everything. So that's when we're going to be presenting that, and then people can give us feedback about that. So those are the two meetings that we have that are public meetings, and the other ones were just regular meetings. So they don't appear to be in conflict, do they?
I don't think so. I mean, let's see, one would be the 5th and one would be the 9th, but that's 4 days apart. So is the 5th the Sunday?
5th is a Saturday, and the 29th, the week before, is also a Saturday, and those are morning meetings to present to the public and then to
Okay.
have a public meeting with their engagement.
Yeah.
And the other meetings are just Mondays, and those are our work sessions to prepare for those meetings.
Yeah. Okay. So
That's as far
I
out
think
as
we're
we're.
okay, but what do the
Yeah.
rest of you think? So that helps to have your dates. Ran
Yeah.
the 3/29 and 4/5. And we would be starting 4/9. And then the next Saturday is going to be the membership meeting, the April membership meeting. So we wouldn't be doing that, and then go back to the 4/16. So and then we're
Yeah.
looking at possibly having, I guess tentatively, we'd like to schedule a special membership meeting like we did for the bylaws for Saturday, May 31st in the afternoon. Because I think by that time the farmers market will be active, so we would want to do that in the afternoon
Okay. And
to approve them.
the NCA has their meeting that Sunday, probably the next day.
I think it's not Memorial Day weekend, it's the weekend
Oh.
after.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So so we've got, I just writing these down. So we've got, just Saturdays, which I think we're hoping that we have a turnout on the Saturday, meetings. So the 29th and the 5th and the 12th and the 19th. So that's just 4 Saturdays in a row there. And then the 3rd of May, I think I saw, May 3rd and the 10th. And then the 31st. So
Hopefully we won't need the 10th. We're hoping that's kind of a
okay.
placeholder.
Okay.
It depends on how much interest we get, and
Yeah.
how much detail we get on these. We just don't really have a good feel for it yet, but
Yeah. Okay. And then you'd like to have the vote on the PP&Rs on the 31st of May, it sounds
Right.
like. Okay.
Which would be a couple weeks before the membership meeting.
Okay. And Rand, I don't know, you guys are committed to just a couple Saturdays here.
So
Are
far.
you, okay, you think you won't have a bunch of other Saturdays after the 5th.
Right. We'll have to fit in
so,
between. And,
okay. Okay.
we've had Sunday meetings too, but
Okay.
so we'll
Okay.
just make do around what's
Okay.
already in place.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And I think we'll know a little bit more about how we're going to organizing it as we get closer. We're debating about, the way it's organized now is we have some things in policies, some information in procedures that are a little more detailed, and then some in the references section. And whether we're going to take a string of those and cover them in one meeting, or whether we just have a couple of meetings just on the policies and then a couple. So I'm not sure exactly how we're going to end up with that, but we'll put as much information as we can out in the notice about what areas we're going to cover, so people will know. But I'm kind of thinking we won't get a lot of, but I don't know. I mean, we had plenty of people last year with the bylaws, and so we could this year too.
Yeah.
So, but if this looks okay, could we go ahead and tentatively get approval? I guess I move that we approve this schedule for our feedback sessions for the policies, procedures, and references, as well as the special membership meeting.
I just wanted to chime in. I know, Mark, you're going to be gone for April.
Yeah.
And I'm not available on Saturdays afternoon. I work starting at noon, and it's not something I have any flexibility on to be on a meeting. So for that April 12th meeting, I don't know if we had selected a time, but I was assuming we were going to do the late or late morning time.
10 a.m. 10
Yeah.
a.m. Alex.
Which,
Okay.
which works
We'll
with
have
me.
to.
Yeah, I mean, and if I go
Yeah.
over, I'm running the shop, so if we go over, I can just open late. But I know the bylaws committee wanted an officer at the Saturday meetings, and I think they're at 2 p.m.
They are
Well,
currently, but we could change that, Alex. I had thought, when does the farmers market start? Is that like the middle of May?
Yeah, so the farmers market starts the middle of May. And at that point, I stop working at my tasting room in Amity, and I switch my Saturdays to farmers market days, which are the mornings ending at 1. So I kind of flip-flop starting in May. So from May 24th on, a lot of the community is engaged in the farmers market until about 1 p.m.
Okay, May 24th.
Actually,
I'll be back in May too.
Okay, they'll be back in May. All right.
I'll be back in May. So it's really just, really kind of, April, Alex. And I think given your schedule, we just have to work around that.
If
as much as we can.
Certainly for the general membership meeting.
Yeah.
If it's important for me to be available for the bylaws meetings, I'd be happy to do that. I would just have to be done by noon.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we could set it for 10 a.m. I for some reason I don't remember why we did the 2 p.m. before, but I don't think our committee would have any problem with setting it at 10 a.m. if that's better.
That would work. That would work for me. I'd be able to attend.
Any objection to that? So we would have a amendment to change the Saturday meetings to 10 a.m. at least up until 5:24, which we were not planning to go to anyway. So
I believe 5:17 might be the first farmers market meeting. If Memorial Day or Farmers Market Day, if Memorial Day is early this year, I think it's the weekend of the 24th.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the farmers market usually starts the week before.
Okay. So we're clear.
Also on the board there, but I'm pretty sure it's the 17th.
Yeah. Okay. So I would accept an amendment then that the motion would be to accept this schedule as amended to have the Saturday meetings begin at 10 a.m. rather than 7 p.m.
That sounds fine.
I second that.
Oh, you're making a motion? I'll second it.
He said, Alex seconded my motion.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Okay. All right. All those in favor? Okay,
I,
all right, okay, good.
Great, thank you.
And
thank you for working around my schedule.
yeah, and so one of the concerns that we've heard about the 10 o'clock meeting is that some families are up and going with kids and doing things. And for that month, I think if anybody's answering that question during that month, it is because of the situation that we're in now, and it's temporary. And so that's kind of the answer to that question. We understand that, but in this case, we have to do it this way for this month. So
Okay, and then we'll just invite people to, if they wanted to discuss anything, they can still come to us through bylaws questions. So that brings me to my last item, which is we talked in our last bylaws subcommittee meeting about having emails set up for executive board meeting members. So right now we have the info and the admin emails, but we've had some questions about, like, if somebody wants to contact Mark directly or Chris directly or Rand directly, could we, this is kind of a question for you, Gary, could we set up emails that are like the bylaws one or NCAC bylaws@gmail.com? Could we set them up like NCAC chairperson@gmail.com and NCAC vice chairperson@gmail.com, NCAC secretary@gmail.com, that kind of thing that's set up similarly to the bylaws one where you have control over it.
Well, I can
But
research it and find out. I'll see
as
if
Jeff
Google
did
has
that.
a Gmail limitation on how many parallel accounts that they'll allow. That's the only thing I can see that might be an issue. Other than that, it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, it seems like, and then we could put it under the who's who page on the website about adding that direct contact information. And the nice thing is that you guys set it up so that when somebody sends something to the NCAC bylaws, I get it into my email account. It goes directly and then was set up so that I could send things out under that email address. And the good thing about it is that we have a public record. If for any reason, that's how this came up actually, is we're talking about public records for the policies and procedures. And Sarah has told us that we might have to produce emails and that of various conversations if something comes up. Hopefully that will never happen, but it allows us to keep everything separate and in the public domain.
Yeah, I think one thing though, so each of those Gmail accounts will have a separate password. So you're going to expect every officer who's available through one of those mails will be doing their own checking on that, rather than say
Right.
having the poor secretary go and make
Right.
sure. Hey, Mark, did you know that you've got 5 unanswered? I
Right.
think a little too much.
No, you should not do that.
Yeah.
No,
That's
no.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think you check it now, do you? Hopefully
I
you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I just checked the main one, but I don't check
Yeah.
yours. See, I don't even know. I guess there's a spreadsheet that has the password for yours, but I've never logged into it, so I don't know how to.
Yeah. Yeah, you Jeff set it up and then he gave me the password so that I could send things out with it and add it to my my devices. So it worked out really well. Okay, well, if you have no objection to that, actually, maybe Gary, you and I could just have a meeting kind of offline for some of these different things that fall into your area too. And really, as we go through this, we want to make sure you all on the board are comfortable with what we're proposing. We're trying not to do it in a vacuum, and so you're welcome to go in anytime and look at what we're doing at the moment, but it is changing a lot. So when we get to a better spot before the feedback sessions, we'll try to meet with you individually, or if you want to have a special board meeting, I don't know, where we're all talking about it, we could do that too. So that's all I have.
Okay.
I think you're going to talk, Mark, about some of the developments on outreach task force and stuff like that, right?
I am.
Okay.
I am. But go ahead. Are you done, Nancy?
I'm done. Mhm.
Okay. Rand?
So community plan update is, we kind of talked about it when we're just looking at the dates. We are in the process of making selections within middle housing. Right now, we're focused on cottage clusters and how big they can be, how many stories they can be, how many can fit on a lot. And with the variables that we have, we're coming up with some proposals for the community. And so Sarah and Tom have been going through what the consultants provided about middle housing and reorganizing that, as Tom says, so that they make sense. And so those will be critical slides or PowerPoint things that will help the public understand what we're talking about, because it is a rather it's got some vernacular that's not very handy. So we want to put this in plain terms. We want to let them know the motivation for the decisions we've made. And if they want to know what the options are, we'll explain the options besides the ones that we thought fit our community best. So those are the two public meetings that we're going to be having, and we're currently just trying to organize that so that it can be as clear as possible when we present it. So that's the gist of our work. It's just been to digest what middle housing means and what variables are available, since there aren't a lot of options, and then see how people do once they understand what those things are. And our feeling is that when we bring it to them, it'll be a lot easier to understand than maybe they were afraid it might be. And so we don't know till we have the public meetings how clear it is, but we have a feeling that we can present it pretty clearly. So that's kind of the gist of what the meetings have been, and what we're doing in those two public meetings. Any questions about that wonderful
Will
stuff?
you be using the new hybrid gear in the public meetings, or will Sarah bring hers?
Probably Sarah will bring hers. The whole thing, when you guys said, well, you don't really have a way to manage it, it's been just kind of like, okay, well, Rand, are you going to go get it, or what's going to happen? I was gone for a month, 25
Oh, yeah.
days. So
Yeah.
nothing has moved on that front, but it's,
Yeah.
No rush.
I'd like to get some input on different gear, because when I started looking at it, different people had different opinions as to what the best stuff was. And
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in the audio visual field at this point in time. So yeah, there's some work to be done, and probably Sarah will bring what she's got, or if she says, no, mine's broken, I'll have to go buy some with NCA money. So
Yeah. Yeah. So Randy, I know it's a ways away. I think I asked Tom this, or I was at the meeting this week. And do you see the community voting on the community plan prior to, when do you see that happening, do you think? Or do you have a sense? Maybe you don't, about how long that might take?
well, I would say by Memorial Day, we should have an idea uh, of the package and
Mhm.
be able to present that. And then
Mhm.
it would probably be a special meeting outside of special meeting outside of the Memorial Day NCA meeting, that we would ask people to we presented, and we'd ask people to review it and give us some feedback, and then we would like to, Sarah will probably help us
Mhm.
present that to them as
Mhm.
this fits the criteria that she feels makes it a credible plan. So
Mhm.
that'll be part of it, will be her pitch that she's done with it.
Mhm.
So it's because this middle housing thing is much more sticky than we had wanted it to be.
Mhm.
And so it's set us back, I would say, at least a month or two. So I would
Mhm.
say if we were ready by May, I'd be excited about that.
Mhm.
And it might happen in early
Yeah.
summer that it's approved. And, you know,
Yeah.
even when it's
Yeah.
approved by the community, it still goes to the
Right.
county and the
Yeah.
it should be functioning relative to the comprehensive plan of the county and the state. That's Sarah's job to make it do that, but we may found some bumps along the way, in which case
Yeah.
we'll bring it back to the community and say, this is pushback we got, so we need another.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so hopefully this summer it can be
Okay.
scooted out the door.
Yeah. Okay. All
So when
right.
you say you'd have a special meeting, it would be with the NCAC, correct?
Yeah, we would ask the NCAC to convene a meeting to approve the community plan outside of the NCA general meeting, which is, you know, it's basically just a group that it's the biggest group that gathers annually, or the NCA meeting. So it's a kind of a natural to say, okay, we've made it to this point in time. We'd like to present it to you now, and we would be doing that probably with a hybrid element.
That would be great.
Yeah, it'd be a big room with a crowd of people, and I don't know how the people off air, when we planned it before, we said we probably can't really have a lot of input from the cloud on the Zoom, but they can hear it and they can
Mhm.
experience it. And then if they have feedback or pushback or anything like that, they can express that directly to the subcommittee.
Mhm.
It's about
Okay.
as clear as I
That's
am
great.
about
Yeah.
it.
So just to be clear, you're planning the community plan subcommittee is planning to present to the NCA at the Memorial Day Sunday meeting, right? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that's probably the soonest that we would
Okay.
have the
Okay, got it.
opportunity
Got it.
to reach a big
Okay.
crowd. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Although you're going to have some of your sessions, I think there will be high interest when some of these
I hope
Saturday
so.
sessions and things.
Yeah, I
So,
hope so.
so
Well, we just have those two scheduled, so we'll
yeah,
work around Nancy's
yeah.
schedule for other
Okay.
opportunities to have public meetings
Okay.
once we get the pushback or feedback on the middle housing thing. That's
Yeah.
people don't have a clear idea what that means or how
Yeah.
imposing it's going to be or what the restrictions are. So all those things I think will help
Yeah.
them manage and see where they're going to fit in the village and in other parts of the community. So well, that should give people a level of comfort once they understand that. It's an unknown to most people at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Okay.
I'll
I'll,
send out the
no,
schedule, the feedback session schedule to you guys too, since you just saw it on the screen. So now that we have it
okay.
Thank
approved.
you.
I
I
took a
was gonna ask.
picture of it, but sure. Oh, what, Alex?
Oh, I said thank you for sending that because
Oh.
I was gonna ask you to send that since I couldn't take a picture of it while driving. That is important.
Good. Don't do that.
Okay. So that's it, Randall? You know,
Well,
done?
there's one sidebar here, and
Okay.
that was
Okay.
that this morning I got a notification that we got the beach access grant for 3 years of maintenance of all the beach accesses. So it's a $36,000 grant at $12,000 a year to maintain the beach access points and to install a sturdier railing on the Carlton
Mm.
stairs.
Yeah.
That's great news.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been waiting a while. I was glad to get
Yeah.
it.
And where does that? Okay. Well, I
It's
can
a
ask you later how
DLT
that.
money.
Okay, how that money processes through and how that
So
works. But we don't.
the
Yeah.
NCA is the fiscal agent, and so
Yeah.
we
Okay.
put out the money and then the county pays us back.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Once they identify what the budget item is.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's great news. Okay. Monitoring task force. So I'll just update folks on this. Susan Schomburg has been working hard at trying to get some folks to join her on the monitoring task force. And I can't remember, it's today? I think it was last week. Was it Friday, maybe, Nancy, we were meeting?
Yes,
Is that your
uh-huh,
last bylaws meeting? And
yes.
Susan was there and we were speaking about this, but after the meeting over the course of the weekend, or maybe it was later that day, she's actually found three volunteers, what she thinks are going to be volunteers to
Oh.
join her on the monitoring task force. And the folks are, she met with them, she met with two of them, I believe, or met with two of them, one walking her dog and one came to her house. And the other one was um, uh, through one of those two. But Kim Noreen Anderson has agreed to be the representative for the Hills of Nescoin area of town in terms of coordinating things through the NCAC. Maybe, I don't know, talking about, are you a member? Getting the word out in that neighborhood about meetings and what's going on. Lynn Wintermute has agreed to, we think, to be the Hawk Creek Hills representative. And then Heidi Heidenreich has
Yeah.
agreed
So,
to be the Sahali representative. So just more to come on that. She was just really excited, and it was just great news that they have, agreed to join her on that. And so she's working hard, and I think hopefully that committee will be sort of taking off, and we'll have some folks in each little pocket of Nescoin to be the point person for coordinating things and getting word out and things like that. So that was really
Great.
good. So
Mark,
uh,
you mentioned that was
yeah,
the monitoring task force. Is that the outreach?
that's the outreach. I'm sorry, did I say
Okay.
monitoring? I meant outreach task force. Yes, not monitoring. Yeah. Um, okay, yeah. And then the monitoring task force discussion. I don't have much on the monitoring task force discussion today. I haven't talked to Guy.
I have an
Go
update
ahead.
on that if that would help.
Okay. Okay.
Susan had sent out she's handling that for the policies and procedures, and she'd sent out an email to him. We had discussed those at the last bylaws subcommittee meeting and about the monitoring task force to ask if he had any comments. And he did just today actually send back a number of comments. So I think we'll be processing that. And so,
Okay.
yeah, I think it's moving forward. We'll send that to you, Mark, also.
Okay.
Um, so I sent him a note and asked if he'd like to actually be involved with it. That'd be nice if he could kind of start it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'll forward that. That just came today.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Nancy.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. So more to come on the monitoring task force. We'll see if we can't get that off the ground. Agenda items for the April 12th general meeting. So this is early, but it's early because I just wanted to, it's going to be March pretty soon, and then I'm going to be gone for April. So I just wanted to sort of throw out, and we don't have to talk at length about this today, but I thought that at the April 12th general meeting, the big thing to get done that day is the election. And um, you know, the secretary position and the chair position are open, and so on that day, we're hoping that, or maybe before, we have some folks who are interested, um, and let us know that they're interested prior to that date. If not, hopefully on the day of, somebody will step forward. But I have a tentative agenda. That is the big thing on the agenda. I don't know. I think community plan bylaws, of course, would be on the agenda. I've kind of written in announcements. We'll see how the bylaws does on this thing, sort of, I call PSAs, public service announcements. And if we get some direction on that. we could put that in there on that date. But I don't know, are folks seeing other things? I think somebody asked about doing something on that date. Maybe it was the community plan committee wanted to do something on that date, Randall, and I think that's how we ended up moving it a week because it was the elections that day, if I'm remembering, but maybe,
Oh,
Um,
say it again, it's April.
well, on April 12th
Oh,
is the general meeting, and I think somebody, maybe it was, Lori said, well, could we do something on the general meeting? And I think we kind of shied away from that because we didn't want to, it might take more time, but we want to get through the elections and make sure we do that day. So,
mhm.
I don't know how do people feel about that? Are there any just, like I said, we've got one more month, we've got March to really, really, really nail it. But if you have any comments or something that you think what should be on the agenda, you can either let me know now or we can talk about it and you can let me know. We can talk about it in the March meeting, but
So I'd like to have a little more time than usual for the bylaws
okay,
subcommittee meeting because we'll be going,
okay,
we'll have had our first feedback session and I want to be
okay,
able to promote that a little bit more and talk about some of the things that we will be covering in the upcoming ones that people might be interested in weighing in on.
okay.
And then I'm thinking by then the outreach task force might be more in a position to talk about what they're doing and
Mhm,
since there will be 4 members, try to get some people from the other neighborhoods involved.
mhm. Okay, I'll add that. So a little more time for bylaws and outreach.
I think in general, on meetings where we have elections, it's a good idea to limit any other things, aside from, our subcommittees and outreach and what we're
Mhm,
talking about now, unless it's critical, because
yeah,
elections can take a very long time.
yeah.
Even if there aren't technical, hangups. And, those people tend to drop off out of, having other plans and
Mhm,
want to short whoever's last on the agenda.
Yeah, it should be at the beginning for sure. There will just be
mhm,
it'll be a little different than before because there'll just be 2 offices and then the committee people will be in the June meeting.
Yeah.
mhm.
So it'll just be the 2 officers and positions. Hopefully. But you're right, Alex, it's good to have that first.
Yeah,
Yeah. And just if, I'd be hesitant to add anything other than our subcommittee updates, especially if bylaws are taking a while and, there's
Yeah.
going to be
yeah,
a good amount of update and outreach and steering.
yeah,
That'll probably fill up the entire 2 hours.
right. I agree, Alex, and we do have quite a few Saturday meetings lined up. So there's those that folks can attend for the bylaws or for the steering committee as well. So, okay, I think, let's see, public comment. I don't see any public here. So if there's no other,
Well, when is our next
go
meeting?
ahead. Oh, yeah. I have it as, let me look here. 26th
Good.
of March. So 26th of March at,
Oh,
well, now I have 7 PM, but are we going to 3? I don't know.
well, I'm wondering if we could do 7. I'm
Okay,
supposed to do some other committee for a different organization that
okay,
afternoon from 4 to 7.
okay. Okay, so can we meet at 7? Would that work for everybody here that night?
That's kind of the danger zone. It's on Wednesday, the planning night, so
Oh,
I,
right. Uh,
I should be able to show up in
uh,
some way. I might be ad-libbing and you might tell me to shut up more, but, I would, I can probably make it.
what time is your meeting on the 26th? Randall?
Wednesdays, it starts usually at 4
4 or 5.
until 7 or 7:30. So it's at the
Okay,
tail end.
okay.
Oh, okay. Could we do more earlier? Like 1 o'clock or?
Uh,
Works for me.
let me see here.
I could probably do a midday meeting.
Okay. I think um
Or 2 even, 2 or 2:30 even. Um,
how about maybe 1 o'clock or well, what do people prefer? What's a good time?
I'm good.
It's all the same to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
those times are fine for me.
Okay. All right. How about 1 o'clock then?
This is on the 26th.
Yeah.
mhm. Does that
Okay.
work for you, Gary?
Yeah, it should be okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you guys very much.
All right.
Okay. So 1 o'clock. Okay. All right. I think that's it. So thanks everybody for today, for showing up today, and we'll see you all at the next meeting.
All right. I'll do my
Okay.
homework
Thank
and
you.
get back to you.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
And
Bye-bye.
Gary, could I talk to you after just one-on-one?
Sure. Let me stop the